I have explained this matter. First, the money for which essential motion is being signed the money for which the censure motion is being signed was passed by Parliament. I sit on the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. You need to ask the chairperson of that committee and vice if in April 2023 they did not pass that money. That for me is the starting point. That you passed the money, you gave it to people, and now you want to prosecute them. If there is any other agency or citizens who want to prosecute the specific MP, that's a different matter. But you can't pass money and then you follow the beneficiaries and then you prosecute them. That's the starting point. But two, I have said, even if for me there was evidence, in this case, because one of the people accused is very close friend, I thought it's important for me to excuse myself from the proceedings of this whole matter, and it's provided for in our rules of procedure. If you look at the rules of procedure and you go to the code of conduct, where you have a conflict of interest, you actually ask to excuse yourself. And that's what I have done. I said, for me, even if there was evidence, even if this money had not been passed, I will still not participate. But in this case, you even have a matter that you've got to deal with. Didn't Parliament pass this money? If it did, can the same Parliament take action for people who benefited from money that it passed? I respect people's view. The anger in the public against corruption is too much, but I am not going to contradict myself. So I have to continue stating and standing by the position that I took, regardless of the discussion in the public. You see, until someone has brought evidence, the evidence available is that that money is in the budget of 2020 to 2023. That's what it is. I don't know, maybe that's what they mean. But the public need to understand the budgeting process in Parliament. I don't want to say it is complicated, but many MPs don't pay attention. They only discover when money is being dispersed that actually that the money being dispersed was passed by them. And that one I am on record. Many MPs pass a budget without knowing what is in the budget. That's why you even have an argument at all. Because if there is evidence this money was not passed, that evidence would be produced. The evidence available is that the money was passed. I sit on the Committee on Legal. I was not there the day the Parliamentary Commission, including this year, present their budget. You then need to ask those who were in the meeting, did they ever see this money? So I am one of those to blame that we were unable to identify the money during the processing of the budget. But the budget having been processed, you then internally deal with your own weaknesses as an institution. First of all, Museveni classified corruption into three. The intention was to create an escape route for some of his people. And maybe now investigating agencies will first have to consult Museveni to tell them who was corrupt because of a mistake, who was corrupt because it is intentional, who is corrupt because who has been corrupted by the foreign forces. So I think the idea first was for him to escape blame for cases where he has taken no action. So it was an advance notice to the public that, yes, I am aware there are cases, but those ones, I took no decision, probably because it was a mistake. But two, also to create an escape route for his people who in the future will be caught. I think that was the intention. The specific issue we spoke about between the Minister of Finance and agencies. First of all, it is very difficult for any agency to get money without the endorsement of Minister of Finance. The specific cases that have been around was the case of the cooperatives, that about 170 billion was shared by non-existing and sometimes semi-existing, sometimes wrong people between regular members of Parliament and officials from my finance, and I suspect from either the IGG or Solicitor General. But I am not sure Museveni is going to take action, because when this matter came up, Parliament itself investigated. Museveni said, and I know this, that those who were involved were supposed to have been arrested by December. It is now June. I am sure he's trying to find a reason. Many of the cases of corruption where politicians are involved, and politicians, especially NRM politicians, Museveni is reluctant to take action. He will create excuses, or even when he takes action, the cases will deliberately be bungled up in courts of law such that people are not convicted. So sometimes he takes action because there is public pressure, and the action is in form of arrest or in form of summons by police, and then deliberately these cases are not prosecuted, or even when they are prosecuted, deliberately evidence is bungled. So that's what the public should expect. Even we are ayogera yatuuma corruption yamanya naga nti mulimu abali corrupt abalya ssente z'omusolo nga tebagenderedde, mulimu abagenderera ne mubaamu n'abo abagulirirwa amawanga g'ebweru. Ekisooka Museveni ye nyini yagenda okwogera abantu abalidde ssente abamanyikiddwa nga naye nyini azaabogerako bangi naye nga talina kyakoze. Kati ekyangu kwe kugamba nti mulimu abalya essente mu butanwa. Kati bakitegeeza nti olwolaba talina kyakoze aba amaze okuddamu nti abo bazirya mu butanwa. Ekyokubiri, bw'otunuulira corruption mu Uganda akyagenda mu maaso mpaka Museveni ng'akyali mu buyinza, maybe even after. Kati Museveni alina okulekawo eddirisa erimu nga liggule, wanaakwatirayo omuntu gw'abadde tasuubira amulekerewo eddirisa wanaabuukira. So alina okugamba nti mulimu abalya ssente nga tebagenderedde. Kati bw'aba gwagoba asanzeeyo nga wuwe amuga nti oyo alabika yali tagenderedde. Bw'ojjukirako ebiseera eby'emabega Salim Saleh bamuwa ssente okugula ennyonyi ne bamuwa emitwalo gya $600. Museveni n'agamba nti Saleh yambuliddeko nti badde bamugulirira ssente ne mugamba nti genda ozikozese ku welfare y'abasirikale. Kati ebyo Museveni yazze ng'abikola. Ku luno lwe yavuddeyo mu butongole n'agamba nti mulimu ababeera balidde ssente mu butali bugenderevu. So ekyo kyakukola kuba talinaako kyakoze, n'abo baanaasanga nga bantu be oluvannyuma nga abakwatidde mu buli bw'enguzi. Ekyokubiri, bw'otunuulira Museveni be yeewerera mbu kati alina obujulizi obwo Museveni aludde nga bulina. Palamenti yanoonyereza wano ku bantu abalya ssente za cooperative, ebitongole bya gavumenti ne binoonyereza. Ababaka ba palamenti abamu abaali basongeddwamu ennwe baali batandise n'okwekweka nga Museveni abeeweredde nti Christmas ebasanga luzira. Naye ekiseera ne kigenda nga kiyitawo talina kye yakola. Kati ndowooza yayagadde kukyamukiriza bannansi nti ku luno ngenda kubaako kye ngenda okukolako. Naye nkakasa kubanga emisango gyonna egiwaabwe egy'obuli bw'enguzi kasita ababeeramu babeera nga bantu bali ku lusegere ne Museveni baba mugaso nnyo mu byobufuzi bye. Bw'alaba embeera emuyitiriddeko nga agamba poliisi ng'ebayita, bwe bamala emisango tebagitwala mu kkooti. Bwe bagitwala mu kkooti tebawaayo bujulizi bwe balina, bawaayo bujulizi obunafunafu bali ne basobola okuwangula ne bavaayo. So kati omuntu kyaba asuubira mu kino nti ne Museveni waaga nti alina obujulizi. Gw'ojjukira nti Kakoza Mutale IGG yamutwalako mu kkooti, abamu ku baali abajulizi be yali Yoweri Museveni nga bamututteyo mu tteeka erya inspectorate erya leadership code, baamukutte teyawaddeyo bya bugagga bye. Museveni n'awaayo obujulizi ng'awolereza Kakoza Mutale. Kasita abeera nga gwe bakwatidde mu muntu wa Museveni ajja ku process ajja gikyankalanya oba ajja kukakasa nti obujulizi bawaddeyo tebugenda kulumika muntu oyo genda mukomera. Ensonga ziri bbiri. Esooka ssente ezo zaayisibwa palamenti. Naye okufaananako n'ensimbi endala nnyingi, abaka ba palamenti nalabyo n'abamu nga banyiigidde nti Ssemujju yagambye nti bali ignorant. Babuuze ku bajeti y'omwaka guno, babuuze nti bajeti ya parliamentary commission oba bajeti y'ekitongole kirala kyonna ziri ssente mmeka zigenda kusaasanyizibwa ku biki. Kino kigenda okutuyambamu Katonda atusaasire okuva olwaliro abaka ba palamenti balanga batunuulidde bajeti bagiwe obudde ate basome bye bategeera bye bayisa. Committee ya Legal and Parliamentary Affairs ndi member wa committee eyo nekulu saliyo April 2023 ena chairman ena n'omumyuka n'ababaka ne minutes weeziri nga batudde olunaku Parliamentary Commission lwe yaleeta budget mubabuuze oba sente ezo tebaziyisanga bwe babaawo tebanaakuzeegaana budget committee naakuzeegaana eno parliament abaka abasinga bola abasayininga kati ekiteeso kino kyafuuse nga jirikiti buli ayina ebikolobero byeyakola aze bisulwa ku kiteeso kino teweewuunyanga abamu abazze mu kiteeso kino ate bamu abayitiddwa ku poliisi naye kati olw'okuba balabye nga ekiteeso kifuuse kiganzi mu bantu buli omu akeera ku makya abaali ensimbi ne bakyusa constitution abakola ki bakeera awo kati webenaalizaako ebikolobero edda abantu babyenaalizangako mu masaŋŋanzira kati kino ekiteeso kifuuse masaŋŋanzira abenaalimu basanga awo so n'olwekyo nze ensonga esooka nti sente zino zaayisibwa palamenti erina okwetunuuliramu butya bw'eba eyisa bajeti oba ewaayo obudde ekyokubiri nze nga Ssemujju ne wezaalibadde nga tezaayisibwa palamenti tulina amateeka agatufuga ku nkomerero yaago galina gye bayita code of conduct bwe wajjawo ensonga oba erimu wa Luganda oba erimu wa mukwano code of conduct zigamba nti gwe ngotegeeza palamenti ensonga eno sijja kusobola kugitambuza bulungi omu ku abo be bavunaana mukwano gwange okumala ebbanga ddene kinagenda ndi banne munsonyiwe sijja kusobola kubeera mwenkanya mu nsonga eno ngenda kugibeera bweru waayo palamenti yonna ne bwe naateekako emikono ogwange tegujja kubaako ne lwe banaagiteesaako mu palamenti sigenda kubeerayo ku lw'eyo ensonga so ekyo njagala buli omu akiwa ekitiibwa nze siinaayo obujulizi bulaga nti sente zino zaali mu bajeti ya 2021-2022 obujulizi obuva mu komiti bulaga nti zaali mu bajeti ya 2022-2023 kakati abo bagamba nti zaagabibwa luli batuyambeko batuwa obujulizi kuba obujulizi obuliwo bulaga nti zaali mu 2023 alina obujulizi bwa 2022 abutuleetere ebyembi mu nsonga eno abantu bagenze ogiyingiramu nga baasalawo dda kati ne baagala banoonyereze luvannyuma entandikwa ya bino kwali badde kunoonyereza bw'omala okunoonyereza n'olyoka osuula ensonga ku mmeeza naye abasinga ensonga basoose gisuula ku mmeeza ne bagenda mu kunoonyereza kyova ne mabirizi mu kooti yadduseeyo kubanga weweewuunyiza omuntu awaabye omusango ogugenda okutwala abantu eruzira agamba atya nti ngugyeyo wasigaleyo palamenti gye bagenda bavumamu obuvume nti guli omusango that should end in conviction ngugyeyo mu batwale mu palamenti mubavumeevume biggweeraawo bantu bangi abaagenda mu nsonga eno ate nga kitegerekeka nga tebamaze kunoonyereza kati buli banoonyereza basigala bagugubira ku kiri kye baatandikira kuba kiswaza teri mbaka wa palamenti atajja kuswala nga weetaba mu kuyisa sente n'ogenda oteekako mukono buli omu ajja kukiswaliramu.
No, there is no way someone can claim that the image of parliament is in jeopardy. The whole country is in jeopardy because of corruption. What is happening in this country does not only it's not only about parliament. Almost all institutions in this country are full of corruption. We have so many people who have been involving in corruption, but they have been exonerated by the office of the IGG. We have so many officers which are supposed to be fighting corruption, but what do? They are disempowered. They are disempowered in terms of human resource. They are disempowered in terms of finances. So there is no way you can expect these organs to fight corruption when you have totally and intentionally disempowered them. Like, for example, there are so many grand thieves in this country who are known to have stolen billions of money. But if you try to remind the IGG's office, I'm not talking about one individual in terms of Honorable Betty Kame, but I'm talking about the office of the IGG. When you remind them that we have so many people who have stolen billions of money, they usually talk in a low tone. Why? Because the thieves in this country are more powerful than the institutions that are supposed to fight corruption. Like, for example, if you hear of the scandals of Lubowa Specialized Hospital, they almost stole close to 1 trillion shillings. What happened? What did the office of IGG do? What about Parliament? So, yes, the president talked about it, but What about himself? Is he clean enough? Does he want to tell us that he's an angel, that is clean enough? He's the same person, in fact, who tempts Parliament by passing these, I would call them obnoxious supplementaries. Few days to budget passing, they want a supplementary in terms of trillion or trillion plus. So there is no any way you can talk about financial discipline when you yourself as a head of state, you know your colleagues who have embezzled billions of money, but nothing is done to them. So it remains like a song that every time the head of state gets a chance to talk about corruption, we just remind Ugandans how corruption is bad. So until when we walk the talk, there is nothing we can do. Like, for example, you are talking about Parliament, that Parliament is conniving with the Minister of Finance. What about the State House? Because for me, I have evidence as a member of Parliament. When you refuse to pass supplementaries or to debate supplementaries in the committee, having weighed the intentions of such huge sums of money, then you hear that there are some orders from above that the supplementaries are not supposed to be discussed in a committee, therefore they should go directly to the plenary, and they are passed. So I would wish that Mr. President knows these people who have stolen or who have embezzled these huge sums of money. I would wish he walks the talk, but this has become his perennial song. We shall fight corruption. Remember some time back when we had it was called the parliamentary walk to fight corruption. It was headed by the then late Deputy Speaker Oranya. You remember what he said? He said, yes, you have converged here, but the thieves are here. Including where he was talking about corruption. The thieves were surrounding him. Why, if he knows the thieves, why can't he arrest those thieves? Because he knows that once he arrests those thieves, government will collapse there and then. There is no way this NRM government can survive when you have already taken away the thieves, because they are very big. They are the ones who finance campaigns. Now that campaigns are in the corner, they are looking for every corner where they can steal money through these institutions. Because if the head of state, you know for a long time, because you have intelligence, that these huge sums are embezzled by Parliament and then finance, what have you done to those people? I am yet to see these people to be taken to prison or to be apprehended by the state, because he has all forces that can apprehend those thieves. But for me, I think the president was trying to buy his time. If you know the thieves are in Parliament, why can't you come for those thieves? What if also those thieves will say that you are part of them? Because thieves in Uganda don't eat alone. It is a cartel. You go to State House, he claimed himself, that there are thieves in the State House. If you are the head of State House, what have you done to those thieves in the State House? Nothing. Members of Parliament are not angels. They come from you. These are your fellow thieves. They come from you. And whatever they steal, you share. You will find them contributing in churches. You will find these thieves contributing in community activities, including NRM party. They subscribe to NRM and they give them money. If you know members of Parliament who are thieves, why can't you come and arrest them? You have the capacity. You are head of state. You have institutions that can apprehend these people. What are you waiting for? No, you said the members of Parliament get huge sums of money. Who told you that he who is rich cannot steal? You think it's only poor people who can steal. Everyone who can steal. Because stealing in NRM government is a culture now. No, there are no rules here. The rules depends on the players. There are some institutions where stealing is just as normal as playing football. Because if you want to tell me that you are head of state and you claim that the thieves are in Parliament, how many miles from State House to Parliament that you cannot come for these thieves? Because the president knows that stealing is a culture in his government. And then when he starts apprehending these thieves, some of them are heavyweight. They can go with him down. Because if you know that there is a thief who stole bicycle money, we hear there is a thief who stole money for war. There are thieves who stole money meant to buy drugs for the hospitals. There are thieves who steal money in UNRWA. In UNRWA, they don't steal in billions, they steal in trillions. When we are talking about penalties, is the same person who came here and said, now, stop talking about these things, because when you talk about them, they can run away with our money. That's why you see some of our accountability committees have gone silent, because the president warned us that as much as you are fighting corruption, go surround my thieves. They may run away with the money. Now that he knows where the thieves are, let him go after them. Let him get them, let them pay back, because we cannot be here and start singing year in, year out about the thieves, yet to know where they are. Services are corrupt. There is nothing much on the ground which you can show the population that this has been done, especially in this financial year, this concluding financial year. There is nothing much on the ground. These people here, there are trillions of money passed by Parliament to go and do services in their communities. So I wish the president would walk the talk, but I think he was just trying to excite the public. There is nothing he can do about looting. This is beyond him. The council of looting has gone beyond his management. Because if he tries them, he may end up arresting, including his relatives. The rules are there, but who will implement them? You may have very good rules, but who can implement them? You suffocated the CID departments. You suffocated them. Don't give them money. These are the organs which are supposed to fight corruption, like IGG's office. You suffocated them. Police officers live like refugees. How can you expect these police officers who do investigations to go and do thorough investigation when you have suffocated them financially? You have suffocated them in terms of welfare. So what can they do? If you have we have committees here, but these committees are not headed by angels. They are also human beings. When you work among the corrupt, there comes a time when you give up and say, now this is a culture. There is no way you can fight something which has become a culture in the same government. If he himself, the head of state, knows where these thieves are, let him go after them. At least I would be happy now that he pointed at Parliament, that the thieves are in Parliament. I will be very, very happy. I'll be among those people who are very happy to hear that there are some MPs who are found being in corruption or in scandals, and now they are in prison or they are before courts of laws.
Parliament is a public institution, whereas some institutions are closed. Our operation is scrutinized on top, and there are some information that the public don't know. How the operation of Parliament, how the finance of Parliament, and that's what is creating a problem. I have said so many years that the resource which is given to MPs to perform tasks like the fuel I am given, the money which is given to me for buying a vehicle, that should not be money to be put in my account. A civil servant in a ministry, when he's going to the field, is advanced money and accounts for it. They're given fuel cards, because that's not their money. I'm given money, go to the constituency 4 times to mount a government program, to consult the voters, because we represent the voters. But that money is put on my account as if it is my money. While in civil service and a government institution, you are given fuel card. Even in police, then you account at the end of the period. The same model needs to be applied here in Parliament. That the resource which is given to us to perform tasks, we need to be given government vehicles. We drive it for 5 years, and then at the end of the 5 years, it is handed back to government. But now when we are given money to buy vehicles, then they say MPs are paid a lot of money. We need to change the way Parliament is facilitated. Very, very important. In Parliament offices, we have staff whom we pay with our salary. So when a Kenya is given 20 million shillings, part of that man has to pay for my driver, has to pay for my staff in the office, have to buy stationery, have to buy data. All that money is as if it is my salary. So we need to change the way MPs are financed and first stated to do their operations. That one is a urgent requirement. Once that is done, then the public will be able to understand. Secondly, we need to change the way financing of political parties are done. Right now, there is campaign going on in the ground, in the villages. People are preparing for NRM party primary. So you find a member of parliament who has contact with the government institution will tell Department of Agriculture, go and then you support me with the seeds. Minister of Works, go and open roads. That weakens the accountability of parliament because the government system is not delivering service. So voters see MPs as people to deliver service. And yet the role of members of parliament is legislation, appropriation, and oversight. So the mode of frustration of MPs needs to be changed. The governments needed to deliver service. And then we need to design. When I was a youth MP, chairperson of Young Parliamentary Session, I was leading a program called The Role of Parliament, the Role of Central Government in Delivering Services. So we need to educate the public on the role of local government, the role of central government, and the role of parliament in terms of their task. Once the public understands, then they will reduce pressure. Now, that is where the thing is. You see now, you have just said what I've answered before you asked, that MPs are given too much money. The money to take an MP to his constituency is not his money, it is fuel. And I'm saying stop putting this money in our account. Give us fuel cards. We are supposed to go to our constituency 4 times in a month. If you exceed that time, you will not, you will put your own fuel. But we should be given fuel cards with a limit. If you go 8 times, then you spend yours. If you go less time, the money goes back to the pool. The way we have now health insurance. That is the model we need to facilitate MPs. Because you put 10 million shillings for me as a fuel, I'm given 100 million to buy a car, but that car is for service. And RDC is given a vehicle with escort, with the fuel and the driver. This and a vehicle of 250 million. Me 100 million, and I repair and I maintain this car. And RDC and LOC5 or a car, his cars are maintained by government. But of course, this is more expensive. So MP said we should not cause too much cost. Just give us a contribution of 100 million. I'll pay driver, I'll pay the car, and service it. Now, the government failure to implement the National Development Plan. Planning. Why would Ekanya Joffrey push that in the budget there should be money for building Merikit sub-county, Akadot sub-county in parliament? I need a secondary school, I have to push for it. I need a road, I need a borehole, I have to push for it during the process. This is the conflict. The country is planned, the district plan, Minister of Works plans every government, and money is put, they know this area needs this, or a hospital, this area does not need. It should not be the role of an MP. We should follow the national plan, what we call the development plan of the country. But that is not being followed. So it creates this conflict. That this MP will push for more hospital, will push for roads, will push for water program, will push for rural education, Uganda beg. We have a work plan and the plans are implemented. MPs are not in procurement. I think that is, those people are talking that they want to blackmail names of MPs. You can look at the budget report of all the sectoral committees. MPs put programs to benefit the citizen. Like I've given you, I want a road. I will have to push for a road. How do I get money? By putting a road. The program will be implemented by Minister of Works. I want a health center. Now they're building my health center. 3. I had to push for money to be provided. We start with the Minister of Health. All MPs put health centers they want. I wanted a technical school. I wrote a letter to the First Lady. And therefore, during the budget process, I push money to Minister of Education to make sure that this technical school is built. That's what members do, and to the best of my knowledge. Now, all monies are under the law, all monies which are approved here in Parliament, they are approved by the executive in the cabinet. Recently, we approved the supplementary for Magola, we approved money for TIAC, we approved money for Bana project. The ministers came with the cabinet position on the amount. There is no single figure we increased. Instead, we have reduced. That is on record because government did not show us the source of the money. So when you are reducing the amount of money, then how does it come that now I have added? Under the Constitution, the rules of procedure, MPs have no power to increase the resource beyond the ceiling that has been set. We can only reduce and do internal reallocation. So if there is money, which is put, like for the Atiak Sugar Works, and we see that a health center in a district like Mitiana, there's a crisis. There's no maternity wing. We will move part of that money for Atiak and put for Mitiana to put up a health center and put up maternity. That's the only power we have, and that's what we do. Yes, the parliamentary image is hitting it. There's a wave. We are under attack. The only way we can redeem the image of parliament is by sticking to the truth and explaining to the public, and sticking to our role and responsibility as MPs. We should avoid even participating in fundraisings, because that's part of what creates a problem. Some of these MPs are engaging in business, and that's where some of the conflicts comes about. Once you are engaging in business, so you go to a fundraising in X, you put 1 million shillings, 2 million shillings. You call the accounting officers to come and support. So MPs and the public need to understand the role of members of parliament, the role of the institution of parliament, like a parliamentary commission. I'm one of the MPs who have not agreed to signing the censure motion. Why? Because there's no resource which can be withdrawn without the approval of parliament. The money that was paid to those members of parliament, ex gratia, we approved it in the budget of parliamentary commission. When we are discussing ex gratias for former speakers like Sekandi, for former speakers like Butagira, the matter was discussed and approved. The person who approves the parliamentary budget, who comments on it, is the president, under the Constitution, the Minister of Finance. So I think there's deliberate blackmail. And even my colleagues who are moving on this, we approve the budget, and therefore, if to censure, all MPs are guilty because we approved the budget. We approved those items. The president approved it. The parliamentary commission is constituted by the speaker, deputy speaker, the prime minister, minister of finance, government chief whip, and 3 backbenchers. How do you turn around after approving the money in the budget? The item has been presented by the entire parliamentary commission, and then you look for 3 people who are even minority in the commission. Why don't they censor the prime minister? Why don't they censor the minister of finance? Why don't we censor ourselves who approved it, the money in the budget?
So you mean it is you MPs?
All of us, we approved that money. Yes, because we approved the item. It is this one who are trying to be saints, who are causing problems. The thing is, some of these MPs who are promoting this censure, they want to be appointed to be members of the parliamentary commission. They know that once these 3 leave, they will create a room. Members of parliamentary commission get more benefit higher than an MP. It is fighting for those few benefits. They have a vehicle, they get fuel, they have escort. Parliamentary commissions like a board. So some of these MPs, they are fighting, you create room by censoring these 3 so that they create rooms. But we all approve the items. Give me any member of parliament who presented a minority position on the budget of parliamentary commission. There's none. And Ekanya Geoffrey, at being a senior member of parliament, I cannot participate in media, fake, populist game to tarnish the names of some of my colleagues. And secondly, I have said, I'm in opposition. How do I participate in cleaning the image of NRM? I want NRM to rot, we go to election, and then they lose power. That's the second reason. But on principle, that censure motion is against the rule. The budget was approved by all MPs.